This is a Sterling GT, specifically the Le Mans car / Mille Miglia car. It's a legend, quite frankly. It's one of their best race cars ever, and it was also one of their last for a very long time because of some horrific accidents, and it took them out of motorsport, which is a shame, because they were really good with this car. This is a lovely vehicle to drive, but they did eventually come back in the 80s and 90s with various Le Mans cars and touring cars, finally achieving success with their Group C Le Mans car at the end of the 80s, and they were genuinely on top of things from that point on. They ended their sports car program a little prematurely, in my opinion, but all of this performance renaissance did lead to a new sports car. And quite frankly, it's one of my favorites ever made. The SM722. A vehicle that I think, quite frankly, looks fantastic. It's not in the spirit of the original Sterling GT. It's more of a speedster open-top vehicle. And yeah, it's exquisite. It looks really aggressive and yet really clean at the same time. It's got side pipe exhaust. It's amazing. It's also a very fun car to drive. I quite like this vehicle a lot, actually. There are a few quirks about it that I should get into for full disclosure. The sound is not one of them, but it's not the fastest in a straight line, probably because of the speedster. I'm not really sure how much that affects the aero having a big gaping hole where the windshield or the coupe should be. And also the differential is very strange in this vehicle. I don't fully understand. It has decent turn and the back end's a little loose, but you can manage it, as you can see. But if you get on the power a little too early, all it does is spin one of the rear wheels. And I find that very odd. Because this is a multi-million-dollar sports car that is, it looks like it should look, and yet it has the same one-tire fire as some of the Dinkas. It's weird. But that doesn't really matter. I mean, that's a very minor issue, because this thing is a riot. This is bone stock. And it's a bit of a maniac behind the wheel. It's bloody good fun to drive. As I said, it's very good fun. So the weird differential is only a kind of problem, because it doesn't really affect the overall performance that much. I mean, this is never going to beat anything made today. This is a few years old. But the quality of this vehicle, when it comes to the fun haviness of it and the flashiness of it, is simply extraordinary. So, yeah. It's not perfect. It's not fast. It's not gonna shatter any records. But, I'm pretty pleased with this vehicle, if I do say so myself. Is it worth all the money? Probably not. It's definitely a more subjective vehicle in that respect, because you buy it mainly for the looks and for the fun in the corners, not necessarily for the speed. But to each his own, and I quite like it. But I did want to bring it back to its racing roots. And in order to do that, I went to a little homage to the Mille Miglia. Specifically, a tarmac rally through Los Santos. Nowadays, the rally is far safer than the old one, simply because the cars are more safe than the 1950s versions that they race with, but the track is still incredibly narrow and lined with unforgiving walls and obstacles, and the cars are a lot faster, usually, but it's a lot more varied as well. We have vehicles from all sorts of touring car classes, GT cars, old touring cars, like the Briasso 300 widebody that you saw, and some time attack vehicles for good measure. It really is a large conglomerate. Provided your vehicle meets, safety requirements, you're good to go. And you're going to want those safety requirements, because this is a very challenging rally stage. A very high-speed rally stage with a minimal margin for error. Which meant I was a little bit anxious. Okay, I don't have any of those safety features apart from the crumple zone, so, we're gonna see how this goes, and I really want a co-driver, but you know what? We're just gonna have at it, and try not to crash this very expensive loaner that I was given. Okay. That's a little narrow, and the oversteer immediately kicking in there. You see, I really gotta fight the rear end a little bit when you carry just a tiny bit too much speed. And this is a little sketchy. I don't know where I'm going, so I'm being a little cautious around that corner. Now chuck it in on this one. Nicely. Okay. This is not a place you want to get oversteer, because there's just no room for error. Yeah, you can see the one tire fire there. That's a prime example of it. I don't understand that. That's really weird for a car this expensive. It really makes it look a bit tacky. So it's weird in that respect. Whoa! But every time I think that, the car, you can do that with it, and I immediately stop thinking those things, because it's just so much fun, and it sounds so nice, and it looks so nice. But we need to focus on driving this. We have the chicane coming up. Ooh, nice and narrow through there. Now this is the really scary part, because this is unnecessarily tight. There's like a car and a bit's width here. Ugh. That's really close. How do people go flat out through here? I'm lifting and feathering the gas to make sure I'm on the straight and narrow. Don't hit the inside, because then you'll fly into the wall. That'll be bad. But we're making it so far. There we go. We're almost out. Nice and calm. There's that really nasty wall there. We're safe in that respect. I think we're about halfway done with this run. It's pretty long. It's about 3 and a bit minutes for the stage. Okay. Suspension could be a little better. I mean, it's good in this respect because we're actually on public roads. We're closed public roads, which means you want compliant suspension, which helps us on that bump, but it's still so anxiety-inducing. Luckily, this doesn't have any of those problems that other vehicles like the Corsita had, where it gets bounced around on any bump, pretty much, so it's nice that that does not have those issues. Okay, we got a little bit more to go. Almost hit the wall there. That's fine. We're just maximizing the apex. This didn't have a heart attack at all. Had a heart attack there, though. Okay, airtime in the braking zone is sketchy as hell. There's the finish line. Just need to go around this hairpin. Nicely done. And we are across the line with some style points that I meant to do. Okay. Well, that's a hell of a car, if a little bit sketchy to drive sometimes. But yeah, if you like the look of it and you like how much fun it has, it can be pretty fast, even if it is a little bit expensive.